You're not broken. I need you to hear that before anything else. Not softly. Not politely. You're not broken. What you're feeling right now, that heaviness, that quiet exhaustion, that strange mix of numbness and emotion, it isn't proof that something is wrong with you. It's proof that you've been holding too much for too long, without being held yourself. You didn't wake up one day and become this tired. This didn't happen suddenly. It happened slowly, quietly, over years. You learned how to be strong early, maybe earlier than you should have. You learned how to handle things on your own, because no one else was coming to save you. You learned how to stay calm when things fell apart, how to swallow your feelings so other people wouldn't feel uncomfortable, how to keep going even when your body and heart were begging you to stop. And people noticed that strength. They leaned on it. They relied on it. They expected it. So you kept showing up, again and again, even when you were tired, even when you were hurting, even when you didn't know how much longer you could keep going. You became the one who handles it, the one who will be fine, the one who doesn't complain. But here's the part no one tells strong people. Strength without rest becomes damage. Not visible damage, not dramatic damage, quiet damage. The kind that settles into your chest, the kind that shows up at night when everything finally goes quiet, the kind that makes you stare at the ceiling and wonder why you feel so empty even though you've done everything right. You don't cry the way you used to. Or maybe you cry without sound. You don't get angry the way others do. You shut down instead. You don't ask for help easily anymore, not because you don't need it, but because you don't believe it will really come. And somewhere along the way, you started asking yourself dangerous questions. What's wrong with me? Why can't I feel happy like I should? Why do I feel tired even when nothing is technically wrong? So let me say this again, slowly. You're not broken. You're exhausted from surviving. You've spent years being emotionally alert, watching moods, reading rooms, anticipating problems before they happen, carrying responsibilities that were never meant to be yours alone. You became strong because you had to, not because you wanted to. And now, your nervous system doesn't know how to rest anymore. Even during calm moments, your body stays tense. Even during good days, something inside you stays guarded. That isn't weakness. That's adaptation. You adapted to pressure. You adapted to disappointment. You adapted to being the one who keeps everything together. But adaptation has a cost. And the cost is this feeling, this quiet burnout that doesn't look like collapse, but feels just as heavy. You don't feel excited about the future the way you used to. You don't feel deeply sad either. You feel drained, flat, heavy, and because you're still functioning, still working, still helping, still showing up, no one sees how much it's taking from you. So you start doubting yourself. You wonder if you're ungrateful. You wonder if you're lazy. You wonder if this is just how life is now. But listen carefully. Strong people don't break loudly. They erode. They wear down from the inside while looking fine on the outside. And if that's where you are right now, it doesn't mean you failed. It means you lasted. You lasted through things that would have broken people who never had to be this strong. And here's something important you may have never been told. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be allowed to rest without guilt. You don't need motivation. You need permission. Permission to stop proving your worth through endurance. Permission to stop earning love by being useful. Permission to stop confusing survival with strength. Because real strength isn't how much you can carry. It's knowing when you've carried enough. Right now, your body is speaking to you. Your mind is asking for space. Your heart is asking to be met, not admired, not relied on, but understood. And if no one has said this to you yet, let me say it clearly. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to slow down. You are allowed to need support. Needing support does not cancel your strength. It proves you're human. You weren't meant to live in constant self-control. You weren't meant to always be the calm one. You weren't meant to carry everyone else while ignoring yourself. And the fact that you've done it anyway for so long is exactly why you feel the way you do now. Not because you're broken, because you've been strong for too long. And this is where something shifts quietly, gently, but deeply, because once you stop seeing yourself as damaged, You stop trying to punish yourself into healing. You stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" And you start asking, "What do I need now?" That question changes everything. If you're still here, it means something and you recognize the truth in those words. Not intellectually, emotionally. Because strong people don't listen to things like this casually. They listen because something inside them is finally asking to be seen. So let's go deeper. The hardest part about being strong for too long isn't the tiredness. It's what that strength slowly teaches you about yourself. It teaches you to minimize your pain, to explain it away, to say, "Others have it worse," even when you're drowning quietly. It teaches you to delay your needs. "I'll rest later. I'll deal with this later. I just need to get through this first." And later keeps moving. Weeks turn into years. Years turn into a personality. You become the dependable one, the reliable one, the one who doesn't fall apart. But here's the truth no one warns you about. When you never fall apart, no one learns how to hold you. So you start holding yourself through everything. Heartbreak, loss, pressure, disappointment. You become emotionally self-sufficient, not because you're healed, but because you had no choice. And over time, that self-sufficiency hardens into isolation. Not physical isolation, emotional isolation. You're around people, you talk, you laugh, but very few people know what you're really carrying. Because you learned early that showing weakness changes how people treat you. They worry, they judge, they pull away, or worse, they use it against you. So you stay composed, you stay capable, you stay strong. And that's when the confusion begins. Because from the outside, your life looks fine, maybe even successful. But from the inside, something feels off. You feel disconnected from joy. You feel impatient with small talk. You feel irritated by things that never used to bother you. And sometimes, this is the part people don't talk about. You feel resentful. Not because you're ungrateful, but because you've been giving without receiving. You've been pouring from a cup that never gets refilled. And when strong people reach that point, they don't explode. They go quiet. They withdraw. They numb out. They stop expecting much from anyone. They tell themselves, "This is just how I am now." But that's not who you are. That's who you became to survive. Let me say something that might feel uncomfortable but necessary. You don't need to become stronger. You need to become softer with yourself. Not weak. Not careless. Soft. Soft enough to notice when you're tired before you're depleted. Soft enough to say no without explaining yourself. Soft enough to let someone help you without feeling guilty. Because right now, your strength is working against you. You push through signals your body is sending. You override your emotions with logic. You keep functioning while slowly losing yourself. That's not discipline. That's self-abandonment disguised as responsibility. And it's okay if that realization stings. It's supposed to, because awareness is the first crack where healing enters. You've spent years being what others needed. Now, your system doesn't know how to switch gears and be what you need. So it resists rest. It resists stillness. It resists vulnerability. Rest feels unsafe. Stillness feels like failure. Vulnerability feels dangerous. But listen carefully. Rest is not quitting. Stillness is not laziness. Vulnerability is not weakness. They are recovery. And recovery is what strong people need most. Because they never stop long enough to receive it. Here's something that may surprise you. You don't actually need your life to change dramatically right now. You don't need a new job. You don't need a new relationship. You don't need to fix everything. What you need is permission. Permission to stop measuring your worth by endurance. Permission to stop earning rest through exhaustion. Permission to stop being the emotional backbone for everyone. That permission doesn't come from the world. It comes from you. And I know that sounds simple, but it's not easy. Because when you've been strong for too long, resting feels like betrayal. Betrayal of expectations. Betrayal of identity. Betrayal of the version of you everyone relies on. But here's the quiet truth. You are allowed to disappoint others to stop abandoning yourself. You are allowed to change the rules you learned in survival mode. You are allowed to outgrow the role that kept you alive, and you don't have to explain that to anyone. You might be afraid that if you stop being strong, everything will fall apart. But ask yourself honestly, has being strong kept you at peace, or just kept things running? Because peace isn't the absence of problems. Peace is the absence of constant suffering, and you deserve that. You deserve mornings where your chest doesn't feel tight. You deserve evenings where you don't replay every conversation. You deserve relationships where you don't have to earn your place by being useful. You deserve to be met, not managed. And this is where the story begins to change. Not all at once, not dramatically, quietly. It changes the first time you rest without apologizing. It changes the first time you say, "I can't do that," and don't justify it. It changes the first time you admit you're tired without adding, "But I'll be fine." Those moments feel small. They're not. They are revolutions for someone who has lived in survival strength, and I want you to remember this. Healing doesn't mean becoming someone new. It means returning to who you were before you had to be strong. The version of you that felt deeply, the version of you that rested naturally, the version of you that didn't measure worth through sacrifice. That person isn't gone. They're just tired. And they're waiting for you to stop demanding so much from them. So if tonight you do one thing differently, let it be this. Stop calling yourself broken. Start calling yourself tired and worthy of care. Because you were never damaged. You were just strong for too long. And strength, when carried alone for too long, always asks for rest. Now you know why you feel the way you do. And now, finally, you can begin to soften.